Merhaba بتصوت. Hello sisters and brothers all around the world. My name is Abenet. Welcome to a new program of Horn of Africa TV. I'm here today with a very inspirational story. It's one of those stories that deserve to be told more often. It's a story that gives hope and that invites us all to think about the fact that each and every one of us has a talent or an interest or even a profession that could contribute to the development of our country. So I do think that there are some people out there in the diaspora who are playing with the thought of eventually returning back home. And so I think that this story today will resonate with a lot of people in the diaspora out there, not only the Eritrean diaspora, but also in the larger sense, the African diaspora. As I know for a fact that the question whether or not to return back home, the challenges, but also the chances, is a widely discussed topic. So if you're interested in that, definitely stay tuned today. If you follow Eritrea, you probably have heard about the project we are going to talk about today. It's an incredible architectural project. It's Afrofuturistic, and it's an Afrofuturistic landscape that is being built at the moment in Eritrea. And social media was full of pictures of this amazing design project, but also a lot of people asked more questions about who's behind it and what is it all about and what is it for. So that's why we prepared this program today with exclusive footage of interviews, visuals, and all the information you need to know about this project, Whaashoon. And also, I don't know about you, but when I see these kind of projects happening in Eritrea, I always ask myself, well, who's behind it and what were the challenges and what was the inspiration behind it? And to be honest, I always ask myself, well, could I do something like that as well? And as I know that a lot of people out there are asking themselves the same questions, we decided to highlight not only the project, but actually also the person behind the project and the story behind this project. So let's talk about the person behind it all. It's an architect, and his name is Abu Bakr Haj Hassan. And some people out there might know him, especially in the Eritrean community in Germany, as he was a very active member. But most of the people probably don't know him as an architect. Most of you probably remember him as a video artist because that's what he was busy with before. He would make music and dance videos and always try to really highlight the beauty of the country. And looking back at all these video projects, it becomes clear that there was always the interest of displaying the culture of the different ethnic groups and the languages and the dances and the music. And he went that far that he brought together 750 people in Eritrea to organize a massive video project with dance and music. And as he said, he wanted to show the colors of Eritrea and wanted to show what Eritrea is actually about. And now, looking at what he's been busy with the last years, the Whaashoon project, you do see that there was always that interest of showing the beauty of Africa and showing the beauty of Eritrea. But actually, the story starts earlier, and that's what I wanted to talk about today. Way earlier. He was born in the 70s in Hirgigo, in the middle of the struggle. And as the situation became worse, he and his family were forced to leave the country, and they went via Sudan to Egypt, where he actually also went to school. And while he was at school in Egypt, he also became a member of the legendary Kayaht Mbaba cultural troupe. For all the people who don't know anything about Kayaht Mbaba, especially probably the younger people out there, I strongly recommend you to watch this video first and then go back to YouTube and search for the term Kayaht Mbaba, the red flowers, and you will see some very, very nice videos of back in the days. And probably you might even see some of your uncles or aunties as children or teenagers being part of these cultural troupes. Well, Kayaht Mbaba, just for you out there who don't know, was a children's group, and with the help of drama, music, and poetry, these groups try to transport important messages, mostly messages of harmony and unity, important messages in this whole nation building process. And back in the days, you probably know, most of you out there were somehow involved in this, in activism. So while there were a lot of people, too many people losing their lives in the deadly war, a lot of people in the diaspora organized themselves in different groups to collect money and to collect clothes and medication. And not only that, with the help of these cultural troupes, they also made sure that very important messages of harmony are being transported to the next generation, and that in a very playful but also educative way. As I said, for all the people who don't know, please go back to YouTube and watch those videos. It's very educational, and it always takes me back to the time when I was small and my parents made us children watch those videos and dance along. These kids were our heroes, and also for the people who might have been themselves part of Kayaht Mbaba, please share your memories in the comments below. It's just important to store all these memories for the next generations. Yeah, well, as I said, engaging in those cultural troupes was a very important aspect of our diaspora organizations and activities. And it made sure that also children have something that they can be busy with in that time. Yeah, so let's go back to Abu Bakr. When he was living in Egypt, he was part of Kayaht Mbaba. And then, growing up, the whole family resettled to Germany, to Berlin to be specific. And that's when he started studying architecture. So he became an architect, he finished his studies, and then there was a complete change in direction. He actually started a business. First it was a store, and then after that, he opened a restaurant together with his family. And the restaurant is actually still running, and it's a very successful restaurant. And yeah, so if you look at the restaurant and actually looking at the decoration and the way the waiters dress and the whole menu, let me describe it as Afro-fusion. His whole restaurant, which is called Masai, is an homage to his African identity and also to his Eritrean identity, of course. So he was always quite active as a businessman, and in the last years, he increasingly transferred his business interest from Germany, expanded it to Europe, and even went that far to expand it to Indonesia and now to Eritrea. So what is this project Whaashoon actually about? Everyone's talking about that, and you probably want to know more. Well, for more details, actually, stay tuned. We have, as I said, a very interesting video coming up. But just as a small explanation, it's actually two projects. It started in 2014, and the one project is a public project, and it's intended to build a park. And the other one is a tender project for a tourism park. And that was a tender bid project in Abu Bakr and an Indonesian firm consisting of 15 architects and engineers and planners basically got that job. So he and his team got busy working in Eritrea. I don't want to talk too much about the project because I don't want to spoil anything. As I said, very interesting footage coming up right now. But yeah, it's always interesting to find out who's actually behind these interesting projects. And I wanted to highlight the background of Abu Bakr a little bit, as I know that many of you out there have similar thoughts and similar motivations. And yeah, well, the story might resonate with a lot of people out there. And in my eyes, this whole approach of always trying to Africanize everything that he's doing is something we need to have more. And well, I don't want to reveal too much. Enjoy the video. Stay safe. My name is Abenet, and this video is exclusively produced and presented to you from Horn of Africa TV. And as always, if you like this content, share, like, and subscribe. Bye.
Whaashoon is an architecture and construction company owned and managed by Eritrean architect Abubakar Haji Hassan. The firm was launched in 2014 in Indonesia and currently employs 25 designers, engineers, architects, and experts in construction and technology.
Whaashoon is a word from the Bedouin language, meaning my inheritance or my country. We chose this as the name for our company because our art, our handwork, our buildings and designs are all inspired by our cultural inheritance.
Whaashoon is a company dedicated to the utilization of natural resources. One of these is the solid and incomparably beautiful petrified wood. Trees turned to rock after millions of years of mineralization underground. Found over 10 meters below the Earth's surface, locating and digging out petrified wood requires much work and special expertise. However, whatever is made out of it is both durable and aesthetically rewarding.
Whaashoon's vision is to adapt original Eritrean building methods and develop them into a modern architectural style that reflects the culture of the people. It also aims to put the country's rich mineral resources and its varieties in rocks and stones to aesthetic effect.
Today, Whaashoon is fully engaged in laying down its future plans for Eritrea. Apart from the traditional buildings that reflect the diversity in culture and way of life of its population, Eritrea also possesses architectural structures and relics of the various powers and civilizations that visited or occupied it in the past. That Asmara's modernist architecture has been inducted into UNESCO's World Heritage List is a vivid demonstration of this fact. Whaashoon's preliminary task has been to conduct a systemic survey and an in-depth study of traditional and modern styles of architecture available in the country. Based on this survey and study, Whaashoon has already launched 2 projects of national import.
Whaashoon's first project.
Whaashoon's first project is the development of a tourist center bearing its name.
As we are using bamboo trees for the first time to bear buildings of this size, it took a lot of time and effort to carefully design a structure that would ensure the durability and safety of the building. This model is in the shape of an agdo. We designed this model to understand how the bamboo structure could sustain the heavy ceilings of this building, which was inspired by the shape of an agdo. Using traditional designs of the houses from the Kabasa or highland region and houses from the Matahit or lowland regions, how can you create a contemporary Eritrean culture of design? Every aspect of this tourism center will express Eritrea. Whether a guest to the center is an Eritrean or foreigner, this will be a place where someone can learn about and relate to Eritrea's history, culture, arts and traditions.
The tourist center will house over 40 shops for the sales of cultural items and commodities, 15 restaurants, cafes, and halls for cultural shows, conferences, and public gatherings.
One of the cafes located in the center is named Sorana, which refers to the Eritrean revolutionary struggle for independence. The design of the cafe was inspired by the rugged mountains, forests and rivers where the liberation struggle took place. The exterior of the cafe looks like a mountain, whereas the interior structure of the cafe features descriptive icons of the armed struggle. For example, the floor of the cafe is made of soil, and the chairs and tables are made of stone and wood to give the impression of a jungle. A major spotlight of the tourist center will be a restaurant in the shape of a mosop. Most restaurants in Eritrea only serve foods from a single region of Eritrea, either the arid highlands, the lowlands, or the seashores. A restaurant that portrays all of Eritrea, however, needs to be able to present food from all the regions together. In the restaurant, you'll be able to find not only the flavors of Eritrea, but also the shapes and images of Eritrea and its people.
The expansive tourist center will be a place where the aesthetics, art, history, as well as the culture and culinary tradition of Eritrea will be appreciated, read, and discussed. Its multi-purpose design is meant to cater to the diverse needs of customers in a relaxed atmosphere.
Whaashoon's second project.
Whaashoon's second project is based in the Misalam or Gargara Dam and is being implemented in conjunction with the Office of the President and the Addihallo project. The idea was inspired by President Isaias Afwerki. He said,
Our dams are not merely the sources of water and agricultural activities. They need to be developed into centers of attraction for domestic and foreign visitors.
Thanks to the President's continuous follow-up and suggestions, the project is maintaining its momentum and speed.
To build a comprehensive history of Eritrea, our first task was to do extensive research, using resources from all over the world. We gathered and carefully processed information from museums, books, and institutions in Eritrea, Italy, the UK, and Ethiopia, and then we began.
This project began with a preliminary survey of the Gargara Dam and its environment, in coordination with the Cartography and Information Center of Eritrea, the Segan Construction Company, and the Addihallo project. Extensive consultations were made regarding how to adapt Whaashoon's vision to the terrain of the targeted area. A general concept of the construction site was then drafted. The purpose of the park is not just to serve as a recreational space. Its purpose is also to impart the ancient and modern history of Eritrea's culture, traditions, values, and civilizations into the relaxed minds of visitors. By highlighting Eritrean values and major historical landmarks, the park aims to enhance the growth of the tourism industry and to enable future generations to stay connected with their history and traditions. The structures and buildings projected to be installed in the park have been carefully designed to add to the spectacular natural terrain surrounding the dam. The parking lot adjacent to the park is also intended to meld with the majesty of the lake.
Initial stages of construction.
The process of implementing the concept on the ground was not easy. In order to put in place the 10,000 square meters of space required for the park, the rugged terrain needed to be transformed. Hills had to be flattened, and ditches and fault lines had to be filled with rocks fetched from elsewhere.
Today is the day we laid a cornerstone at the construction site of the park. It is a day that heralds the launching of the preliminary step of the project, and it's indeed a special day for all of us.
crucial, demanding, and exhausting task was undertaken by the Addi Halo project, which employed 20 heavy construction machines and hundreds of its staff. Thanks to 6 months of hard work, the site of the park was prepared in a way that blends with the original habitat without disturbing its natural grace. Engineers from the Cartography and Information Center tested the grounds to ascertain that they can carry the buildings and statues to be installed in the park.
As you can see, we are undertaking the first mission of the project, which involves filling and leveling of the rugged terrain, hills and ditches. Second stage of construction.
The following task was the preparation of the top layer of the dam for the lodging of statues. Over 300 statues are destined to stand on the bridge. To accommodate them and to weave the dam into architect Abu Bakar's concept of the tourist center, the bridge had to be expanded. A careful study of the possibilities was undertaken by the joint efforts of the Cartography and Information Center, the Segan Construction, and Whaashoon companies. It was agreed that 24 protrusions or flanks of precast walls needed to be added to the bridge in order to house the statues. Slabs or walls of concrete and steel were prepared at the precast factory located in the Asha Golgol area. 48 such slabs were then fitted on the 24 flanks by the dedicated young workers and engineers of the Segan Construction Company. However, when the walls were fitted, it was discovered that they were 30 centimeters higher than the level of the bridge, and the gap had to be filled. The new task of raising the 1 kilometer-long top layer of the bridge by 30 centimeters demanded the intensive labor of 400 dedicated workers and the appropriate machinery. After 7 months of unrelenting work, the Gargara Bridge was ready to bear the installation of the 300 statues. All the work accomplished thus far had relied solely on local capabilities and resources.
The third stage of our work. This year, we've had a great rainy season. And with on this auspicious note, we are beginning the third stage of our work.
The remaining tasks revolved around one of the major aspects of Whaashoon's vision, which is to introduce the scientific exploitation and utilization of rock and stone minerals to Eritrea.
أي شغل قلنا أن بتحق حزينة وقدم بقاستنا.
Whenever you are thinking of creating something in whatever field, the very first thing that you must do is identify who and where the expertise and talent in that field is. Therefore, when we thought about using stone, the first step that we took was to go wherever in the world we could find experts in using stone.
For this purpose, Whaashoon decided to take Indonesia's centuries-old rock carving and chiseling expertise and experience as a point of reference.
خطي سقاري بس حتى متي وقري جبدي شتي عيدي تقري تدي بينم من دكيل غريبي.
Just as we import books for the knowledge they provide, Whaashoon imported stone carved abroad to introduce the skill to Eritrea, to adopt it to our national needs.
يعفوك تنكويفو انكريزيفو يعفوك تنكويفو انكريزيفو حاسنتي خالي.
Beyond the expertise required in placing the carved stones and sculptures on the assigned flanks while maintaining their original form, it was the patience and acute level of concentration of the experts that was most tasking. The Indonesian artisans and skilled workers responsible for the installations were astonished by the hospitality of the Eritrean people and the conducive working atmosphere. Eritrea's beautiful climate, friendly people, and generous offerings facilitated their work and the enjoyment of their stay. The importance of the Gargara Dam and the anticipated economic development that will come from creating a park and tourist center is not lost on the locals. For this reason, they actively participated in and enhanced its day-to-day progress. The community blessed everyone in this project with food and kindness, re-inspiring the dedication of those pioneering the project and helping to push it forward to completion. Footage of the people's hospitality and its lasting and positive impact on the foreign professionals have been duly documented. The installation of special stones and sculptures on both sides of the bridge, the fixing of stone arcs at the entrance of the bridge, and the lodging of statues along its walk required special skills that the youth were able to learn. This important side benefit cannot be stressed enough. Everything was accomplished using natural rocks and stones.
مرداتي أبايي وبايكي جمعة لك بناتي شريتا بددو كوي راس ملاتي حلوبلي
Three categories of statues are to be installed. The first category, that reflects the civilization of Adulis, is completed in a style known as relief. This involves creating forms and figures by chiseling up to 40 centimeters from the surface of big rocks towards their center. The second category is the construction of huge statues reflecting the ethnic and cultural diversity of the people of Eritrea. It begins with the placement of 20 by 40 centimeter slabs at each base sculpted into 10-meter-high figures that represent the culture and traditions of Eritrea in the manner being seen. These huge statues are to be installed at the Gargara Park. This third category consists of life-size statues. These statues, 300 in number, reflect the struggle of the people of Eritrea at different periods of their history. This process started with sketches on paper representing each group of statues. Replicas of the sketches were then made in clay casts. These were in turn made to pass through what are known as negative and positive technical processes. Finally, they were immersed in melted aluminum or bronze to attain their finished form. A few have already been installed at the Gargara Dam. The time is not far when all of the sculptures and structures are planted in their assigned positions to adorn the Gargara or Misalam Dam with the culture and history of Eritrea.
ترابنا تزرزيرو بزي ودع فتلي حاد قريكنا ستينا يتمني خزيرك ما يفقري سقاي تفتينا تسكينا لزل عرم